This module will explore the admissions requirements for the Fisher College of Business. Students in the Fisher College of Business fall into one of two categories. They are either a pre-business student or a business major student. Pre-business students are students who have met the initial academic criteria to enter the College of Business. However, they have additional coursework to complete before they will be considered for admission into the major program. Pre-business students are assigned advisors in the Fisher College of Business and have access to all of the coursework they need for the first 2 years of school, including courses such as Micro and Macroeconomics, Computer Science and Engineering 2111, Accounting 2200 and 2300, and both the Introduction Statistics and Business Statistics courses. Pre-business students do not have access to major-specific courses, such as the Business Core or specialization courses in the major. Business major students are students who have met the application criteria set by the college and have applied to major, or students who were admitted into the Fisher Direct program straight from high school. Business major students have access to all of the coursework needed for their listed specialization. However, business major students must follow the prerequisite structure of the curriculum. In order to apply for admission to major, Fisher students must complete 5 academic requirements. The first requirement is the successful completion of the course English 1110 with a grade of C or higher. Students who have earned AP credit or transfer credit for this course will also meet the requirement. However, in the case of transfer credit, transcripts will be examined to ensure the student has met the minimum letter grade of a C at their previous institution. The second requirement for students to complete is Math 1131 or 1151. Again, students must earn a C or higher in the course, as well as their prerequisite math courses, or have transfer credit with a grade of C or higher. AP credit or examination credit can also be used to meet this requirement. The third requirement for admission into the Fisher College of Business is the completion of 26 semester hours worth of coursework. The 26-hour requirement includes courses taken at OSU, AP credit, examination credit, and transfer credit from other institutions. The fourth requirement for admission to major is closely related to the third requirement. Included in the 26 semester hour requirement to apply, students must complete 12 hours of graded coursework at The Ohio State University. This requirement is needed to ensure that students are able to be successful in their academic coursework at OSU. The final requirement for students to apply to major involves a student's ability to prove that they can be successful in the academic rigors of The Ohio State University. Students must maintain a minimum of a 3.0 cumulative GPA. This means that the average of all of a student's coursework at Ohio State must be at or above a B level. Please note that the college does not round this number. Thus, a 2.999 is not the 3.0 GPA needed for admission. It is also very important to understand that the 3.0 GPA is the minimum needed to apply for admission. However, achievement of this GPA does not in any way guarantee a student's admission to the major. Finally, we must address a common misconception of the application requirements. The admissions committee is only looking for the successful completion of 2 courses for admission to major, English 1110 and Math 1131 or 1151. Students often believe that the completion of other pre-business courses such as CS&E 2111, Statistics 1430, Micro and Macroeconomics, or Accounting 2200 and 2300 are required to apply. These courses are not needed to apply, and no preference is given in the admission to major for students who have taken these other business courses. Instead, these courses simply factor into the 3.0 cumulative GPA required by all students to be eligible to apply and are required to be completed in the business curriculum. There are several actions that students will need to complete in order to apply for admission into the Fisher College of Business. First, a student will need to determine that he or she meets all 5 admissions requirements set by the college. Details of these requirements were discussed earlier in this video and should be reviewed prior to your application. Second, students will need to determine when they wish to apply to the major. Currently, the college holds 2 separate admissions cycles. The deadlines for applications to be received for these cycles are January 31st and September 15th by 5 p.m. The application will be available 1 month prior to the deadline. Thus, the application for the January 31st cycle will open on December 31st. The application for students can be found on our website at fisher.osu.edu. The application is fully online and should take only a few minutes to complete. After a student has completed and submitted their application to the website, they will receive a confirmation email. Students should keep this confirmation email and print a copy for their records. This confirmation email will be requested if there are any discrepancies in the student's application process. Students often have questions as to how the admissions decisions are made within the College of Business. The reality is that the process is relatively straightforward. The college will first review students to ensure they meet all 5 of the requirements previously discussed. Should a student not meet all 5 of these requirements, their application will be denied. Assuming that all 5 requirements have been met, students will then be ranked based on their cumulative OSU GPA and the specialization they selected at the time of application. Each specialization has a limited number of seats, and students are placed into the specializations in order of their GPA. For example, if the specialization of finance has 100 seats available at the time of application, students who selected finance as a specialization choice will be ranked by their GPA, and the 100 students with the highest GPA will be admitted into the specialization. Keep in mind that students are only allowed to be admitted into one specialization at a time in order to facilitate progress towards the BSBA degree for all business students. Students who list multiple specializations will first be evaluated for their top choice. If a student fails to meet the GPA needed for their top choice specialization, they will then be evaluated for their second choice. If a student also fails to meet the GPA cutoff for his or her second choice, the college will evaluate the possibility of allowing the student to be enrolled in the college as an undecided major student. However, admission is never guaranteed, and a student's application to the major can be denied. Being listed as undecided would allow students access to the business core courses required of all Fisher students. However, undecided students are prevented from accessing specialization courses. Thus, the student would need to reapply for admission into their chosen specialization during a future admissions cycle. Please note that the application process does not require or take into account any essays or letters of recommendation. Admission is competitive and is purely based on a student's ability to complete the 5 admissions requirements. Finally, remember that a 3.0 cumulative GPA is the minimum needed to apply to the major, but achieving this GPA does not in any way guarantee admission into the major. We've now reviewed the process for admission into the Fisher College of Business. If you have any questions about this subject, do not hesitate to contact your academic counselor.